I'll massage your feet or whatever you want.
Massage your feet? That's kind of weird. Nobody massages judge's feet, right? If you actually read the Quran sometimes censures the Prophet. It says, no, it's not about his life. Again, you have not read the Quran at all. It's not a book of seerah. It's not about the life of the Prophet. I mean, salvation is pretty important, so you got to make time.
That's what I'm saying. We all have a limited.
That's why I studied the Bible, and the Hindu text, and the Buddhist text, and the Jehovah's Witness text, and the Book of Mormon, and Jewish writings, and the Talmud, and the works of different rabbis, and then I chose the Quran. So what I'm saying is, put in that effort, because salvation is important. Your hereafter is important. But for you to take one and go, no, I'm just going to close my mind, I've already got everything made up, then you're never going to learn. You're never going to...
حمدا لمن هداني لسنة العدنان محمد المختار وسيد الأطهار.
Long time, man. Nice. How you doing? All right. So let's go back to that, okay? Now, if you take a car and you slam into somebody, you will, according to your own example now, justice is that you will be held accountable, not a third person. Okay? So for you to say that God killed Jesus for the murders and things that we commit would then not fit your own example of justice.
My example?
You guys hear any time?
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. You guys people there. I hope to see you as a good I got a pin by
I have, man. How you been? Oh, it's always fun, bro. Oh, man, where you at? I've been here. Working? All right. Well, I'm glad you're here today, man. You off today?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Go ahead.
What you guys talking about?
About justice and mercy.
Justice and mercy. So go ahead.
Okay, my example was to show that justice means that the sin or the crime needs to be paid for.
Okay.
That's my definition of justice.
But then in the same example that you gave, when we talked about you hurting that child, you didn't say just somebody going to jail is enough. You said that person has to be held accountable.
Right.
So it didn't work with your concept of justice.
Because earthly government and earthly justice is different than God's.
Again, so you gave an example of earthly justice, and then when it came to a different example, it didn't work. So you got to take one or the other, right?
So let me just explain God's justice.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
God's justice is, you and I have sinned.
Okay.
We've done everything. We've blasphemed God. We've hurt our neighbors. We have not been good at all. He says even our good deeds are like dirty rags. Because people have bad intentions.
Okay.
Right? People do it for themselves instead of doing it for us. So God says, when you die, you will be held accountable.
Okay.
You're going to heaven or hell. Hell is to pay for your sins.
Okay.
He sent his son. He came down and humbled himself to pay for
himself or his son?
His son.
But you said God was
Right,
Jesus.
because you believe in the Trinity, and I know you know that.
No. And again, different Christians give me different answers. Okay. So I just want to be clear, because I have had Christians here tell me that he's the son, but he's not God himself. Okay. And the other Christian said, no, he is God. His son is just a main way of showing 3 in 1. So I'm trying to understand. So God himself came down to earth, and humans killed him and crucified him, and that will get us to heaven. Wow, that does not work in my mind.
What will get you to heaven
is killing God.
It's accepting the sacrifice that God has provided.
No, but don't you think killing God was a sin?
A sacrifice, you can't get into heaven.
Why not? Who made that law?
Because God will be unjust.
No, that is not justice. Just like the court that you gave the example where the court guy just wrote off your ticket, God is forgiving. He doesn't have to kill somebody. That is a very unjust, unmerciful. Right? But why couldn't he just write it off? He's the God. You sinned against him. That is just. No, that is right.
If I was a judge and
somebody was murdered.
Excellent.
Yes.
I said, you're free to go.
Excellent. Excellent. I agree with you because you murdered somebody. So here, the murderer would be held accountable. If God said, So you killed somebody, but I'll tell you what, here's my son, kill him, and then we're even. You know that's not justice. You think that, okay, let me just get this clear. If you go to court, you murder somebody, and the judge says, if you kill my son, now we're even, Steven, you think that's justice? Wow,
Yes.
that is insane. I'm sorry. You know that doesn't make sense,
It
right?
does make a lot of sense.
The judge's son gets murdered, an innocent son, and that makes up for the other, and the murderer goes free because this child has been killed.
You know what I think?
You know that doesn't make sense.
You cannot
You know that doesn't make sense. You know that's unjust.
You cannot possibly comprehend God's sacrifice and God's mercy.
I appreciate your time, and you want a Quran? Do you have one?
I have one at home.
You have one? Have you read it?
I've read parts of it, and
What's the first chapter?
I honestly,
All right. So can you do this for yourself? Go home and read it. And with an open mind and open heart, read it. See the justice, the mercy, the love that's in the Quran, and then come back and talk to me when you've read it. I've read the Bible. You read the Quran, and we'll discuss. Good?
okay. I mean, I'm
Come
willing
on.
to come back, and
Okay.
I'm willing to study.
Okay.
But I'm telling you,
With an open mind.
okay, so never mind. Let me ask you this: does somebody have to have the Quran to become a Muslim?
What do you mean?
Do I have to? Let's say I was in a land that had Islam never touched, right?
Okay. Then we have the concept of fitra, which is your original state of recognizing your creator. So if you still worship that one God because the message never reached you, you're fine, right? But if the message reached you like it has reached you,
Right.
then it's upon you to now at least read it and see if it's the truth or not.
Okay.
So if you want one, I'll give you one. If you have one, read it. Just read it with an open mind. And what's the worst that can happen? You'll find the truth, right? So come back and we'll discuss.
All right. I still don't see your God as justice.
Come on, you know you
I
do.
don't.
You know that if you go to court and you kill the judge's son, that's just a second murder now.
You just-
That does not make
can
it.
you
That
not-
does not make it
can
even.
You
You
not see God's mercy in that?
no,
Can't.
no,
But you
not
can
at
see
all.
you can see God's mercy in you killing someone, and then how would that work in Islam?
Okay.
If you killed
Go
someone
ahead.
and they're
You're
dead,
held accountable for your deeds.
okay.
So you killed somebody, you pay the price,
Okay.
right?
How have you paid the price?
Sure,
Let's
let me
say-
tell you.
Let's say you're not in a place with the government. How
Okay.
have you paid the price?
Excellent. If you get away with it in this world, you will pay for it in the hereafter.
Okay.
And I explained that to you already. I'm not rambling. You're asking me the same question again. So
by moving something to another scale,
no. Yes. So now what happened is you need.
how is that justice?
Let me explain it. Okay? On the day of judgment, that person that was murdered, right, needs to go to heaven. That's his or her goal, right? And you need that belief and those deeds. Now, this person took your right to live your life. They have to pay you back. They will give you their deeds. Now you get to heaven. You made it. You have been paid back. And that person will either, depending on what he has left, he will not make it. So he'll be punished for the sin that he did. That's justice in hell.
Okay. So let's say I was a murderer all my life, but
Okay.
I do good things. I give out food to hungry people.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I do that so much, it builds up to the amount of to even those scales, right?
So again, that case scenario doesn't really work like that, right? Because it's not just about how much you do, right? It's how sincere you were. If you were murdering,
What
and
if I
then
was really sincere about
right.
being
So now here, because you took somebody's deeds, now the justice will be by Allah between you two. How far scales and how justice and who will make it where, that's between Allah and them, right? The justice system is there. Now, how many good deeds did you do and how many violations did you do? That's for Allah to judge on the day of judgment. Okay? You know that's just. You know it makes sense. You know killing the judge's son would just be a second murder. It would be another injustice. It's an innocent person. You know that doesn't make
It's not
sense.
a murder, it's a laying down.
It's a murder.
It's a laying
You
down.
kill. So,
He
okay.
said he laid down his
So
life
why was he saying,
willingly.
God,
It's
why
a
have you forsaken me?
sacrifice. It's a
Okay.
sacrifice.
Why was he saying, God, you
Because
forsaken
in
me?
that moment,
Uh-huh.
the son and the father
Uh-huh.
were disconnected.
So they're not the same.
No, they are the same. That's why.
Okay.
If they weren't the same, then why would that even exist? Why would he say, "Why have you forsaken me?" If they weren't the same, if they weren't connected.
No. Let me. So let's say his car breaks down and he calls me to help him, and I'm like, I'm busy, bro, I'm not going to help you. He can say, why are you forsaking me? Doesn't mean we're one. It means he was depending on me and I let him down. Right?
That's
So you're saying forsaken, have you looked up the word's meaning? Look it up when you go home. Yeah? So that's what it means, right? Forsake somebody, to let them down, not help them in a time of need. Okay? So, here, it doesn't make sense. If somebody is laying down their life, then they know they're going to be killed. They're not being forsaken. They know, hey, I'm here to do this. Yeah?
Do you think Jesus said those words?
No.
Then how can you use it against your argument?
I'm not using it against my argument. You're telling me from the Bible that that's what you believe. So I'm asking you, according to your belief, your own Bible doesn't mesh with what you're saying.
Well, what about it?
I already explained it, right? It's not rambling. Yeah. Let me say it again now. Okay. So, if you are telling me, according to your belief, Jesus came to earth with the mission of being killed. He's suicide, right?
Sacrifice.
Okay. I mean.
He laid down his.
Okay.
Have you heard the scripture? No greater thing than to lay your life down.
Sure. So he's doing it willingly. He knows he's going to do it, right? So in that sense, then nobody's forsaken him. He should be on the cross going, this is what's supposed to happen. He wouldn't be saying, my God, why have you forsaken me? Because that was the plan. If you're saying that's the words of Jesus according to your Bible, then that doesn't match what you're saying, that it was a self-sacrifice.
Him saying, why have you forsaken me? Him going to lay down his life.
Let me explain this a third time. Let's say you tell me that if a car comes, I'm going to jump in front of it to save your life. That's your plan. That if a car jumps that curve and comes at me, you're going to jump in front of me. Right? That's your mission. That's your job. That's what you want to do. That's what you chose. Now a car comes and you jump and then you're like, why am I in front of this? Why did you put me here? That doesn't make sense. Because exactly. So if Jesus came to earth with the plan of being sacrificed, then he wouldn't say, God, you've forsaken me, because that was the plan.
But when he was saying that, he wasn't referring to the sacrifice. That's where you're confused.
What was he referring to?
He was referring to the separation.
So when Jesus was on earth,
for the first time in eternity, he was separated from his Father.
Where did you get that from? That's not in the scripture, is it? Let's look at it. Show me where you got that interpretation, right?
Let this cut past for me. He was not talking about the sacrifice. Do you think it means anything to Jesus if we really believe he is the Son of God?
I don't, so.
No, I'm saying if we as Christians believe in that, do you think that we would really think that dying on a cross would be anything to him? No, because he's God. Why would that matter?
But that makes no sense to me, because how can God be killed? That doesn't make sense to me. How can God be punished and tortured by human beings and put up on a cross and killed?
Because he was called the Son of Man
so is he the Son of Man or the Son of God? What does that mean?
That means that he was man, he was fully man and fully God.
What does that mean? No, hold on. You're saying things that make absolutely no sense. If you are a man, you have certain shortcomings that God cannot have. And if you're God, you have certain qualities man cannot have. Right?
Are you saying it's impossible for God to humble himself and bring it down?
Okay.
Let
me explain it. Oh, we're going to go there. I got you. Don't worry. You think you're the first one that brought this? You did an atheist. Atheists bring this all the time. Okay. Let me say this. Certain things are against the honor of it. The nature, honor. Let me explain it. Okay. So, if you are a brick, if something is a brick, it is impossible for it to be water unless it leaves being a brick. You understand? Because that is a quality. If you're tall, right, then this is you're tall in comparison, right? Now, if you say he is tall and short, either your comparison has changed or the person has left that, right? So God is above human shortcomings.
Right.
You understand? So if you say God is lying, God is cheating, God is raping, we would say it's impossible, because it's not that we're saying God can't, because then you'd be like, oh, you're saying it, right? But we say it's against his nature. So human shortcomings are against the nature of our Creator. So humans getting angry without right? No. Again, getting frustrated and saying, "Why have you forsaken me?" That's a human that's a shortcoming, right? God, do you think God gets frustrated?
I do.
Really?
Yes.
Where did you get that? Show me in the Bible.
Where do I?
God. not the Father.
When he
Okay.
in the
Go ahead.
Old Testament,
Mhm.
when he's basically yelling at Israel, saying,
Okay.
"You've made my people, you basically adultery."
So when you get frustrated,
when they worship idols,
Okay.
you think God was not frustrated?
I don't think. I
God's
think
not
he was.
frustrated with you.
No, I don't think
You
he's
don't think God's
frustrated.
been
Let me explain the difference. When you're frustrated, it clouds your judgment, right? I believe God's judgment is never clouded. It's always just.
According to what definition? Does
Frustration.
mean?
Look it up when you go home. Look up what frustration is and what are the psychological impacts of frustration. Look it up. I mean, learn. Like, have you taken psychology? Are you in college? Okay.
I'm graduating high school.
Okay. So when you get to psych and you learn psychology and you learn definitions, look up what does it mean to be frustrated and how does frustration affect a person, right? I don't believe God gets frustrated. There is the anger of God, but that is also just. It's never clouded, right? Okay, good. So I don't believe God goes to the bathroom. I don't believe God can be beaten up by people. I don't believe God, because that's against the nature of God.
Can God not define nature?
Let me explain. Okay, God has His own nature.
I do agree.
Okay, so in His nature, He is all-knowing. Right?
Sorry.
In the nature of God, He's all-knowing.
Yes.
Is that correct? He knows everything. He's all-able. He can do anything. He's all-powerful. Are we in agreement here? So to me, a God who is all-powerful, all-knowing, all-able cannot be tricked. Satan cannot tempt him like we see in the Bible with Jesus, right? And you cannot have people that will be beating him and thieves having conversations with him, and he's out there saying, "Why have you forsaken me?" To me, that's a human attribute, not a godly aspect.
I completely agree with you.
Okay, good. So then Jesus was
But it doesn't
human.
contradict-
It does,
it
because
doesn't-
you said he was God.
Because God is God. So people.
Okay,
so
I
if
got
he
that
can-
part.
It's the part that you're missing is that it's humility. It takes humility to lower your standard to say, "I'm gonna walk here. I'm gonna ride on a donkey. I'm not gonna ride in on a horse.
Sure.
I'm not gonna come with my sword yet. I'm coming humbly for my people."
Okay.
What you said, that shortcomings contradicts God's nature.
Okay.
Where you're getting that from God's nature, right? Because God, but you're saying God's nature means He can't get beaten by someone.
Yes.
Why? If He wants
Let me
to get beaten
explain
by
that.
someone, why
Excellent.
would that be
Excellent. Let me explain. Okay. God is all powerful, right? Is that right? And all able, right? So when you are all powerful, all able, then for somebody, it's humans to come and put you up on a cross and torture you and kill you is against your nature, because your nature is that of honor. You see what I'm saying or no?
That's the beautiful-
Like
that's
no,
the
but
beautiful
it's
thing
not.
about-
Let me just finish, right?
Okay.
Let me give you an example. Let's say you're walking with your husband, okay? And your husband's a strong young man, right? And somebody comes and tries to rape you, right? And your husband doesn't defend you, right? You would be pissed. You would be upset, right? You would say, "Why didn't you defend me?" And if he said, "Well, I decided we're going to humble ourselves and let him rape you," you would say, "No, that's not a manly attitude. That's not an honorable attitude. You, being physically able, should have stopped injustice." Is that right or wrong?
Yes, I agree.
Excellent. So God having the ability for people not to do injustice to Him, and then not doing what He could to defend Himself, is not just, it's not honorable, it's not godly.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
If I were to come up to you and slap you, what would you do?
I would stop you.
You would stop me?
Yes.
Would you hurt me?
If you can continue to attack me, yes.
Okay.
If I slapped you, what would you do? But I might really do it if you say it. So think it through.
I would turn the other cheek, in all honesty.
To be very honest with you, and I'm not going to do it just because, but I guarantee you that after a few slaps, not only would you not turn the other cheek, you would either call the police, or you would try to get one of these guys to stop me. Let's be honest. This is hypocrisy.
In all honesty,
This is the hypocrisy I don't like.
I would go in the other direction.
Exactly.
But I would not try to harm you.
Okay.
But you know
So
why?
let me continue
You know
that
why
scenario.
Christ-
See, let's be honest. This is the problem. Is hypocrisy, right? let's say you're home alone.
But you
No, let me-
questioning my honesty.
I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
not-
just asking for honesty. I'm not questioning your honesty,
You are,
right?
though.
Okay, so let's give you a case scenario, right? You're home alone. Some dude, that guy breaks in, right? And he slaps you, right? And you try to run and he grabs you, and you can't run. What are you gonna do?
I would fight back.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's
You
a
would
different-
not turn the other cheek.
that's
No,
definitely a
no.
different
That's the
scenario.
whole point. You would fight back. That's honest. This is why I appreciate the honesty, because this is from your right that he's unjustly violating you, that you should not turn the other cheek. Because if you did turn the other cheek, he will continue to rape you. And you know that.
Here's my question. You say that because God has power, he cannot be an advisor.
Again, that's not what I said.
You said he's all-powerful.
Let me say it again, because
said
you're
it
not
goes
listening.
against his
Let
nature.
me explain it. Let me explain it. You missed it, so let me explain it. It is the honor of God. Do you understand? Just like you want to defend your honor, and you're only a human, God is more honorable than us. So for God, for you to say that God came to earth and he had to go to the bathroom, and he got hungry, and he got thirsty, and he got sleepy and slept, and then he got beat up by a bunch of guys and got put on the cross, that is against the nature.
God is dishonored every single day.
No. Again, this is where you don't understand the honor
His
of God.
nature doesn't change the
let me-
ability
let
of
me-
humans to sin
Let me
against
explain. Okay. Every day, do you think we beat up God physically?
No.
We do not. Every day, if we disrespect God, like somebody as an atheist, they curse God, do you think God will let that go? No, they will be held accountable. The honor of God will be brought to justice.
Right.
Thank you. That's the whole point. So if you say
So don't you
humans killed God, then humans should be held accountable for that sin.
and they may be.
Okay, so now we're changing things up a little bit.
No,
So
if
they will be.
If they do not,
So the sacrifice of Christ will bring people to be held accountable. That's what you just
the
said.
sacrifice of Christ,
That people will be held accountable
the
for it.
people that crucified Christ
Ah,
will be held accountable
that's
if they do not
interesting.
accept the sacrifice.
That's interesting. Okay, so that means
But
it
let me
is
go
a.
back to your point. The nature of God, Him being all powerful, does not cancel out the people's ability to crucify. Him being
Okay.
crucified, if He chose, let's say I was a king, right? Or a queen. I have a lot of power. I can do whatever I want. Let's say people were coming to kill me. Could I not tell my army, hey, keep them out?
Let him kill me.
I could say, let
Right?
them kill me.
Would that make sense? It wouldn't, right?
To you, it doesn't.
To you, doesn't make sense.
No,
To
it
be
makes
honest.
perfect
Okay.
sense.
So let's just take your case scenario. Let's say Biden tomorrow, the president of the United States.
The mission is different in both.
No, but you gave a king scenario, so let's take that scenario. There's a king. Let's use your scenario. There's a king, okay, and he's going, and somebody comes to try to attack him, right? And he tells his armies, hey, you guys back up, let him kill me. And they kill him. Would you say that's a wise king?
But
Thank
he
you.
doesn't have the
Thank
same
you.
mission
Thank
as
you.
God in mind.
Thank you. Look,
You know
go
what?
home, read the
I
Quran,
will.
come back. We're going in a loop, you know?
But let me say, he doesn't have the
Okay.
same God's mission.
Okay.
God understands that humans would think like that. He will, what God in his right mind
Right?
would send himself,
That's-
humble himself, go through suffering pain.
Is that
be
confusing?
spat on, have a crown of thorns twist on his head.
Right.
Let me tell you who, a God who is gracious enough to take your place because
Why?
in all honesty, you deserve everything that happened to Christ.
Okay.
So do I, and so does everybody else here.
I don't think I do, but okay.
Okay.
Right? But what I'm saying is, if that's the God you believe in, then you don't believe in mercy at all. Let me explain it. That God, for the sins that we do against God, he could have just forgiven me. He wouldn't kill his own son. That makes no sense to me, and it's not merciful, and it's not just. Okay? That God, for the sins that we do to each other, if you kill me and Jesus takes the blame, then that to me is not just, because now you violated me, but you're not held accountable for it.
But somebody was.
Again, we're going this loop again
I know
because
what you're saying.
because that somebody didn't do it. So that's not just. That's not just. No, I have, but the problem is it's unjust, and you don't want to admit it.
And it's unjust.
Like, I don't know.
It's unjust for you to enter God's kingdom because
Why not?
you have a balanced scale.
Why not? Why is that unjust? That makes oh come on. That makes absolutely no sense in you. If you have to
Because
go
if I
somewhere.
went to God and said, look, God, I know I go to a park and harass people every day, but look, I have all these good things that I've done, and I know you value that, Lord. So
Okay.
let me into your kingdom. He's going to go, I don't care that you've done
He
any
is?
of those good things.
Where did you get this stuff from? You're just making up the scenario from your own mind, right? Right? Go ahead.
Would a just God, would a just judge, if I was a judge, and you came in and you say, I robbed a bank, but I feed the homeless every Sunday, and,
Excellent.
you know, I'll massage your feet or whatever you want. And then,
Massage your feet. That's kind of weird. Nobody massages judge's feet, right?
And the judge goes, okay, that sounds perfect for me,
So-
and you can be let off.
So
That's
let
not
me
just.
give you that example, the same example you used. Okay, you come in, you say I robbed the bank, but I'm really sorry. I wanna pay back, and I tell the bank owner, hey, it was your bank. He robbed it. He's willing to return the money to you. He's gonna make it right. The one who did it, he's gonna make it right. Not somebody else gonna take the money. He's gonna return it to you, and he will come and clean your bank or work with you and try to help you develop a bank system that can't be robbed. And he says, okay, great, justice. But what you're saying is that the judge instead says, hey, you third guy, my son, who's a good, innocent, good kid, you come here and go to jail for his robbing the bank, and you're free to go. That makes absolutely no sense. And you know it doesn't. You know it doesn't. In your heart, you know it doesn't.
No, I do. I'm sorry.
All right.
You
Well,
can say that.
thank
but-
you, and have a good day. I mean,
appreciate
like,
it.
you know, read the Quran like you haven't read it. I've read the Bible, as you can see. Read the Quran with open mind. Like, I read the Bible with open mind, right? And I'm Muslim. He's Christian. He was a Jehovah's Witness before. I mean, you know,
Which
he's...
explains why he's here now.
Why?
Because Jehovah's Witnesses teach heresy.
Really?
That's why.
Go,
Because they believe Jesus was
okay.
an angel.
So why don't you talk to the Jehovah... Okay, listen. Why don't you go and talk to Jehovah's Witnesses and tell them what they're doing is heresy?
I will. I
Okay,
have.
cool.
I have a bunch of
All right.
videos.
So he used to be Christian, not Jehovah's Witness, and he's Muslim today.
Right.
Does that make sense as well? Or?
No, I'm just saying. I understand why
No,
you
look.
think it's fair.
These people, his father was a Christian. These people had an open heart. They read the Bible. They read the Quran. They're Muslims today. All I'm asking,
Read the
name
Quran
one.
and now
Name
they're-
one that you personally know.
Yes, I have neighbors.
All
who
right.
have-
Were they Muslim, or were they?
That's the same thing. Were you Christian?
No.
Were you Christian?
He was a very practicing Christian, and so was he. And he's better
What
versed
does
in the
practice-
Bible.
What does practicing mean?
Sure, he knows the Bible well.
If I
Right?
pray, am I now a Christian? Because
Uh,
I pray?
Well, I don't know. What is a practicing Christian to you then? To me, somebody who believes in the dogma, carries out the actions to the best of their ability,
And what-
is a
what
practicing
is a
Muslim. Somebody who, excellent. Somebody who believes in Allah,
Okay.
believes in the Quran, believes in the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and what is ordained there, and tries their best to fulfill the commandments. That's a Muslim. Now, you know that more people are leaving Christianity and becoming Muslim than the other way,
I can
right?
tell you why.
Why?
Because Jesus says the path is narrow and very few. went
But
to it.
Christianity is currently the largest religion in the world, right?
Yeah, and you said
So,
many
very
people,
few?
many people are going. Do you think there's more true Christians in the world, or true atheists, or non-believers?
I don't know the difference between those two ways, because I think both of those can't be true anything, because if you really studied both of those dogmas, you wouldn't stay
I know,
on
and
them.
I'd say the same thing. So I don't
Okay.
want to start
So, but the thing is, the difference is, I've read the Bible and you haven't read the Quran all the way through. So why don't we even that out and then continue? How's that?
Have you read the other tents, the other religious books?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
You read the Book of Mormon?
I have studied it. Yes, I have. See, you were assuming that I was going to say I haven't,
No, I'm
but I
not
actually
wondering.
have.
I'm actually
I've actually studied the Book of Mormon. My neighbors are Mormons. I have conversations with them all the time. I went to a Mormon study group, not into their church because they wouldn't allow me because I wasn't Mormon, but I went to a study group and went through the whole tenets. I understand their belief system. I studied the works of Dr. Suzuki, who was a writer in Buddhism. I went to a Buddhist temple, studied Buddhism. I went to Hindu scriptures. I studied the Gita. I went to the Jehovah's Witnesses, to the Kingdom Halls, studied their dogmas. I went to Beth El and studied Judaism. So before you assume, trust me, I've been through this, right? And I chose Islam because the only truth. I know that offends you,
It doesn't.
but you can say it doesn't, but
offend me. It might offend
okay.
God. That's
it doesn't, because God revealed the Quran, so God's good with this, right?
And I can
But
say God revealed the Bible.
it didn't, because it's not the words of God. These are accounts of people. It is. The Quran is the words of God.
It's the words of Muhammad.
It is not. See, you have not studied Islam at all. The Quran refers, he speaks to the Prophet Muhammad in it.
About the Prophet Muhammad. Then who wrote
No,
the
let me, so see, this is why I think you haven't studied the Quran, right? Let me tell you now, okay? The Quran is never from the perspective of the Prophet Muhammad. If you actually read the Quran sometimes censures the Prophet.
About
It
his
says,
life.
no, it's not about his life. Again, you've not read the Quran at all. It's not a book of seerah. It's not about the life of the Prophet. What have you read from the Quran?
Why is there a chapter called Maryam?
No. Hold on. So let me explain, because obviously, look, let me
I
tell
haven't
you.
got an answer.
I will give you an answer, okay? The Quran is not the words of the Prophet Muhammad. It is not from the perspective of the Prophet Muhammad. It is the words of Allah. Even when it speaks to the Prophet Muhammad, it says, "Qul," say, Muhammad. Can I finish? Can I finish? See, this is rude. Like you're interrupting me, even though I listen to you, right? So the Quran is the words of Allah that was revealed, right? Meaning the Prophet Muhammad got revelation from Gabriel. Gabriel, the angel Gabriel, came to the Prophet Muhammad and revealed. The Prophet Muhammad couldn't read or write. He couldn't read earlier scriptures. He didn't know any of that, right? He would then recite the words of Allah, not his words. There is a difference between hadith and Quran. Hadith are the words of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Okay? You know what that is now? Hadith. Quran is the words of Allah. I'm getting to Quran, who wrote it down, right? When the Prophet would recite it, the companions around him would memorize. Not 40 years later, not 70 years, not 400 years, not 600 years. Right there, they wrote down, the scribes wrote it down and memorized the entire thing.
From the words of Muhammad.
From the words of Allah revealed to the Prophet Muhammad.
So Allah told Muhammad, Muhammad told the scribes.
Yes.
So the words came from Allah. From
Yes,
Muhammad.
the words of
Okay.
Allah
So that's
revealed.
okay.
Difference.
I can say the same thing about God to Moses.
Okay.
But who would I say? And let's say
Okay.
Moses told scribes.
Okay.
I would still say
So
Moses wrote it. It's a figure
here,
of speech.
excellent. So here, when you say this is the words of God,
Yes.
okay. So the genealogy of Jesus, according to the words of God, Jesus himself began his ministry at about 30 years of age as being the supposed son of Joseph, the son of Heli, right? There's the words of God you're saying.
Yes.
So who's Joseph's father?
I've already seen this.
Who is it? I'm asking you.
Oh, I've already been through this with another.
Okay, but who is it?
It says
Uh-huh.
the son of Joseph, the son of Heli. Okay.
So who is Joseph's father?
Heli.
Heli.
And I know you're
Please.
gonna go to the other one.
Sure.
That's because Joseph
Uh-huh.
had
So let's just go through it
I
first.
know you're gonna go through.
That's
the
okay. Can we just go through it if you don't
Point
mind?
out another name.
And Jacob begotten Joseph, the husband of Mary. So who begotten Joseph here?
And Jacob begot Joseph. Yeah.
So who's the father of Joseph?
If you did any amount
I
of
did, but go
historical
ahead.
research,
Uh-huh.
you would see that it's because of
Uh-huh.
I
Because
wrote-
you're Googling it now.
no, I'm not Googling.
Oh,
I'm
you're looking
for
up.
a conversation that I had with
Okay.
another Muslim.
So you don't know it right now.
I don't know it off the top of my
Okay.
head,
Look it up.
but
Go ahead.
something
So
about
who?
something about
Something. Yeah. Go ahead.
that was his brother.
His brother? Joseph had a brother that
No,
was
not
begotten?
Joseph. Heli. So his
Okay.
father died at a young age. In that culture, you would
Uh-huh.
just adopt the son of your brother. if he
Just
died.
making that up, by the way.
I'm not.
It's no historic. I researched it. There is no historic context for that. And here it says begotten and the son.
Okay.
It can't be for son-in-laws. It can't be for adopted sons because you're saying son. If you're saying that the word two in Greek, and I studied it in Greek, just interesting that you assumed that I hadn't.
I didn't.
Right? But here you have begotten all the way through. Right? So this is begotten, son. It can't be somebody else's. And in Luke, you have son, which is the word in Greek is two. All the way through. So if you're saying two is referring, go ahead, the son of.
The son of Heli. Okay.
So are these all stepfathers then? Because the same word.
No.
Uh-huh.
So you said this word is two?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me bring you to the Greek word, not the English two.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand.
So let me show you the Greek of it. Sorry, I got some stains on it. Begotten, ingenisen.
Okay.
Okay? So all the way through, they're sons. They're not stepsons. They're not adopted sons. It's the same word. Okay? And because it says the husband of Mary, some Christians try to say, no, it's about Mary. It's about Joseph. Okay? Now, if you look in Luke, and this is the Greek English, you have cho, right? Which means from, or to be like ila, attributed from, coming from, and that is what we take as son throughout the whole genealogy. If you say that doesn't mean son, it means adopted, then Adam was an adopted son of God, Seth was adopted son.
I'm saying he referred to him as his son because he
right.
took him in like his
So,
son. And the other one was begot, like he
excellent.
actually was part of the relationship.
Excellent. So if you're saying that's true, then the same word throughout genealogy is used throughout it.
Use an implication.
So can you bring me historic context for that then?
If I looked, I think I could.
I looked it up already.
But let me
spend months on this issue.
Let me ask you.
Let me just finish.
If I were to say this is because I have a half sister, right? If I
Okay,
say this is my sister.
Excellent.
I introduced you as my sister. If I think of my full sister and I say this is my sister, would you assume? But that's your half sister, so she
Sure.
must be your half sister too.
Excellent.
No.
Excellent. So let me explain it now.
That's the way I'm
Sure. Let me answer you, okay? If you tell me this is my sister and this is my sister, I will take you on face value that these are both your sisters. Okay? Then, if somebody comes and says, no, this is a half sister, you would then provide a clarification. Okay? So here, because the same word is used throughout the lineage, throughout the whole way, the same word is used, then we have to take it at face value. If you have historic context, bring it to me. Okay? But since I've already looked this up, do you want me to help you, or you want to go do it on your own?
No, I'll do it.
All right, great. So while you're looking it up, let me give you another one to show you this is not the words of God. Okay? The death of Judas. Have you already looked at this one?
The death of who?
Judas. How did Judas die?
Hanging.
Okay. So this is Acts 1:18. Now this man purchased a field with the wages of iniquity, and falling headlong, he burst open his middle, and his entrails gushed out.
Okay.
So I thought you said he hung himself.
And I've seen this before too.
Okay, so what is it?
I mean, like I said, I don't know it off the top of my head. I'm not a theologian.
Okay.
But here, can I take a picture of that?
Sure, please.
Go back later and study.
Do you want me to show you the verse about hanging now?
No, I can find that one.
Okay, good. Do you want the two genealogies?
No, I know those.
Okay, let me ask you one more since you're going to be looking this up anyway. Isaiah was 22 years old when he became king. You wrote this one already? Excellent.
Every Muslim that I talk to brings up the same.
Excellent. Did you have an answer?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So he was 22 years old when he became king, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Athaliah, granddaughter of Omri, the king of Israel. All right? So since you've already looked it up, I'm sure you already know the second verse. What's his age in the second verse? Do you know?
It's different, yeah. I do have to, like I said,
Isaiah was 42 years old when he became king,
Right.
and reigned 1 year in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Athaliah, granddaughter of Omri. So one is 22, one is 42, and you've already run into this because you said every Muslim brings it up. So what's the answer?
I can't give it to you off the top of my head.
Gotcha.
Because, like I said,
But when every Muslim brought it up, did you not give them an answer?
no, I did.
Okay.
But I have to
But
go
you forgot
study
it now.
Yeah,
All right.
It's been a while.
No problem.
I don't.
Look it up.
I don't usually like go out to.
No, I'm good. But I'm glad you're here talking to us, right? Go home, look it up. I'm here every Sunday. Come back. Cool?
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. And I appreciate that you will actually read the Quran with an open mind, right?
Yes, I will.
Are you sure?
I will.
Open mind.
I have very limited time.
Excellent.
but
Well, I mean, salvation is pretty important, so you got to make time.
That's what I'm saying. We all have a limited.
That's why I studied the Bible, and the Hindu text, and the Buddhist text, and the Jehovah's Witness text, and the Book of Mormon, and Jewish writings, and the Talmud, and the works of different rabbis, and then I chose the Quran. So what I'm saying is, put in that effort, because salvation is important. Your hereafter is important. But for you to take one and go, no, I'm just going to close my mind, I've already got everything made up, then you're never going to learn. You're never going to, like it's like I try some ice cream, I'm like, this is the best, my favorite ice cream. You never tried it. When you try everything, then you can say, that's my favorite. But if you're like, I will never try any ice cream, this is the best, your statement doesn't hold water. Because you don't know the Quran. You thought the Quran was about the life of the Prophet Muhammad? You have not studied the Quran. And again, I'm saying that with respect and love. What I'm saying is, open the Quran with an open heart. Don't think, how can I find faults in this? No, open your heart, pray to God, the one God, the Creator, the God of Jesus, the God of Moses.
That's what you've done with this
I haven't, because let me.
Because
Uh-huh.
the way that this is marked, respectfully, is to point out its flaws.
It's not. Let me explain it now. See, again, you made an assumption without knowing, right? Now,
I made an assumption out of what I
out of
noticed.
ignorance.
No,
Let me tell you.
I
Let
made
me
an assumption.
now. Let me tell you what I did this. Let me tell you why.
But you just made an assumption about me.
Okay.
My assumption came from what you have shown me, because that Bible is highlighted with things that you say, this is I see a fault here, I see a fault here. So you read it to point out its faults. Maybe you read it before and then later you go, oh, this is wrong, so you point out its faults.
That's still not true. And I didn't make an assumption because you don't know what I did. So it is out of ignorance of my actions. That is true, right? Is that true or not? Or do you know why I did this?
Why
Were you
marked
present
it?
when
Why
I
you
marked?
it
Yeah.
like that?
You don't know. You're
Well,
assuming.
I'm assuming by the way that
Exactly.
you're using it.
But instead of asking me.
By the way you're using
Okay, so let me tell you now. Now I will give you the reason why I actually did it, and then your ignorance will go away, right? I studied the Bible. I did not mark these to argue or to debate. I've had this Bible since the 90s. This was my study Bible at a Christian group. And I marked texts that I wanted to ask and learn about. These are not all argue texts. Okay? There are texts in here that I just didn't understand, that I wanted to get the Greek wording for, that I didn't understand how it made sense with other texts. It ended up a lot of those that I had questions on, the preachers didn't have answers for. And that's why I'm pointing them out to you. But I didn't mark this Bible to debate. You assume that, but it's not true. I know, but that's not true. That's not why I did it. And instead of asking me, you made an assumption.
But if you're using
Now
it
I'm
that
telling,
way,
yeah, but that's not why I
my
did it.
assumption is-
Exactly, your assumption is wrong because I marked this to learn. But I'm helping educate you about things that I found in the Bible because they didn't make sense to me. Okay, but I didn't mark this to debate. Okay, I'm glad that assumption has been cleared up now, right? Thank you.
Okay, it was nice meeting you.
Have a great day.
Maybe I will.
We'll see you around. Thank you.
أرجو من الله العلي غفران كل الزلل ورؤية الرحيم ووجهه العظيم وصحبة النبي الطاهر الزكي. يا رب صل أبدا على النبي أحمد وآله وصحبه وتابع لهديه مغرد الحمام وسبح الأنام.